Hey guys, it's Mandalore from Mighty Wallets again. Ah, it's Monday and it's gross outside, so I'm sitting here bored with nothing to do. So,
You can do me.
no, that's not a viable option right now. So instead, I'm gonna go over some modding suggestions that I've been asked about by a few people, so enjoy. Okay, so obviously, first thing is first, I'm going to be going over speed mods. Obviously, I'm partial to speed mods, and I'm a firm believer that in most battles, if you go first, you will more than likely win, unless you really suck. So I've spent a lot of time, money, and crystals in farming the crap out of speed secondaries, and I will exhibit some of those speed mods here in this first part of this video. Of course, we'll start off with Darth Revan. Uh, I enjoy being the fastest Revan on my shard by a decent amount of speed. So there really isn't a mirror match that I'm going to be losing. I got my Revan at 336 with a plus 170. So I have him modded for speed and potency because I do want him to get off that shock debuff to get taunt up on Malik. Yeah, I really enjoy having a really fast Revan. Yeah, I never worry about ever. I don't think I've ever lost with that team. The second most important toon I think that needs speed is Basilishan Fallen. Uh, Going on the Darth Revan team, if she goes shortly after Revan, then and she's faster than the other BSF, you're presumably fighting a mirror, then she can drop that corrupted battle meditation and prevent anyone else from dropping debuff. So I have her at 308 with a plus 160. I would like her a little bit faster, but unfortunately, this is the best that I can do. I have her modded for speed and health likewise, so she's a little bit harder to take down. You can see I got some 22s, 26s, a lot of plus 20s on that. The one weak point being that 20 triangle. I would like a faster one there. The third most important toon, in my opinion, if you can swing it, would still be Jedi Knight Revan. Again, I have speed and health. I want him to stay alive as long as possible because he's annoying. Can get those focuses off, can get those full AoE cleanses off. So I have him at 318 with a plus 158. Jedi Knight Revan has the benefit of just having a faster base speed than Darkside Bastila. So he is too short on the speed set as compared to BSF, but still pretty fast. If you one of the people that can actually pull off a Jedi Knight Revan counter against Darth Revan, you want a quick JKR. Another toon that I think is paramount to have speed, but it's not so hard to achieve, is BB-8. If I can get my BB-8 to go first in a matchup, provided you make the right pick for a matchup, then most, if not all, of my resistance team will go before my enemy. So I have him at 312 with a plus 138. Not super hard to achieve. He doesn't really need to be 312. Certainly, if you're doing a mirror, you want to be faster, which actually was just the case in a recent TW, because that way he can drop that special move, that covert data transfer, and boost up the rest of the resistance team. So yeah, I like having him fast because if I take my J-Ray into a battle, I want my entire team going first. So he's probably my fourth pick overall in terms of speed. Then for number 5, most important toon to have fast as all hell, it's kind of a toss-up, but I have to go with Hermit Yoda. Again, here I got him with speed and health. I want him to stay alive, even though he dodges a lot. I have a plus 147 on him for a speed of 319. He's one faster than my JKR. I want him healing a lot and often, and I want Master's Training as often as possible. Whether it's on offense or defense, I want that in my pocket, just in case I get into some trouble for the basic heal, Master's Training, or the full team heal. So honorable mentions would probably then be Django, Thrawn, Stark if you can afford it. Thrawn's probably the most important of those honorable mentions because that fracture is just so devastating if you can go before any other dangerous tunes. I have him at 305 right now. That's the best I can really afford to put on him with that plus 143. I still think Fracture is one of the best moves in the game. If you can get him out in front of BSF, he can actually help on that Darth Revan counter team. But most people won't be able to stretch their speed mods as far as I've managed to do. Again, having spent an awful lot of time, money, and crystals in investing in speed mods. So yeah, my roster obviously is very fast. If you've seen my self-roster review, you'll know that. All right, so there's speed. Next up, we're going to look at health. A lot of people don't realize that there are a few tunes that really benefit from just exclusive health modding. Most of them are right there in front and center. Grievous, Barriss, Malik, certainly L3, Zombie, and a number of others, but I'm going to start with Grievous. I've seen people mod Grievous for offense or speed. You really don't want to do that. Most of his abilities are based off of his health. Like if you see here, Grievous attack deals damage based on his max health instead of physical damage. So if you're stacking offense, you're just doing it wrong. Again here, damage to all based on max health. If you have anything other than health mods on your Grievous, and here I have mine at almost 63,000 health. If you have anything other than health mods on your Grievous, you're just doing it wrong. And you could even do a better job than I've done in stacking health secondaries on your Grievous. I stretched my mods in terms of health mods about as far as I could. Health primaries on circle, cross, and triangle. I have a crit damage with a little bit of health on the secondary. That's the one exception I think you could do. But even on my arrow, I have a health primary. I would like a health secondary, but I just couldn't find it. Sometimes it's hard to get double health or double anything, really. But that's what I have on that. Barriss Offie, likewise, I've seen people mod her for speed. Please, please don't do that. You need full health mods on your Barriss. Ideally 60k health or more. Her basic heal is based on her max health. A couple of her things on her back. You see there, recover 6% of Barriss Offie's max health every time she uses her basic. If you have a crappy 40,000 HP or health pool Barriss Offie, you're not doing it right. And not for nothing, the more health and hit points she has, the longer she stays alive, and the longer you can actually benefit from her passive. Whenever an ally is critically hit, the ally recovers 20% of their max health, and Barriss Offie gains 10% turn meter. You want her to stay alive. You want her to do that heal on basic, and you want her to have that AoE heal or health equalizer. Moving on to Malik, same thing. A lot of people mod him for tenacity, which I have no problem with. That's your prerogative. I like the full health mods with as much protection as I can stack. You see I have about just under 170,000 overall HP because his protection does turn into health at the start of the battle. I have mine with 90 somewhat percent tenacity. I wish I had more, but it's the best that I could do, stretching my health mods. I've seen people mod full tenacity. That's more than fine. That's your prerogative. That'll keep the debuffs off him. Whatever you do, don't put a crit avoidance arrow on him. You want him to get crit so that he can fear whoever just crit him. Don't put a crit avoidance arrow on him. Go full health, full tenacity, or mixture thereof, whatever you really have the better mod depth in. So, just show you a couple here. Got the potency, got some tenacity. I stacked as much tenacity in my secondaries as I could without giving up that protection primary. Trying to get the best of both worlds. I feel like I've done a decent job of it. It could be better. He's not overly fast. I think a slower Malik is actually more dangerous. I don't think that a whole lot of speed makes him that much more viable considering what you'd be giving up. Moving on to the next toon, L3. Same thing. If you read the kits, you need to know the kits. Her kit is also largely, or certainly a good chunk of it, is based on her health pool. So I have her at 105,000 overall hit points. But here, heal all scoundrel and droid allies for 50% of L3's max health. If you're running speed mods on her, you're doing it wrong. Get the fastest health mods you can find, slap them on her, 6E them if you have to. But you want her to be fully modded for health. Some speed is good, you get those heals more often, but yeah, just mod her properly. And then another one that I see people mismodding a lot is Vandor Chewbacca. I see people modding Vandor Chewbacca for speed. You don't want that. Same thing. Read the kits. He's got 80% more max health. 80%. If you stack the health mods on him, he is going to be really tough to take down. And another thing, you really don't want speed on him. I'll show you in a second his secondary attack. He loses prepared when he uses that secondary attack. You don't want him going that often because he will use that secondary attack and he will lose prepared, and then you can run the risk of losing a character, which totally negates the entire point of having Vandor Chewbacca automatically resing someone that dies if and only if he has prepared. So mod him for full health, make him tanky, make him annoying as hell to kill, and then make him slow, as you'll see when I go look at the individual mods, because you don't want him blowing his preparedness and then, resulting in you losing a toon for good. That's the whole point of that Kira ZVC team. So here you go. I don't have a whole lot of speed on most of these mods. Stack the health. He's got decent offense, but yeah, that one's a little fast, actually. I don't even need a 14 on him, so I may end up moving in that. The only downside to it is then you might end up 6Eing some mediocre mods, which, if you have to do it, you have to do it. Even his arrow, you see, I have health on it. Alright, so those are, in my opinion, the most important toons that you should be modding for health. Next on the list, we're going to be doing characters that really benefit from being modded for tenacity. Right there, top row, you see pretty much all the important ones, the exception of maybe FOST. Nest. I think Nest is one of the best toons in the game, certainly one of the most versatile, and she is annoying as hell if she is tenacious. The more tenacity you have on Nest, the less likely she can be stunned, dazed, and she can counter and stay alive. You don't know how many people, and yeah, look how sexy that crit avoidance arrow is, by the way. You don't know how many people, even at the top levels, struggle with a super tenacious Nest, because like I said, you can't daze her, you can't stun her. She is a pain in the ass to kill. Next up, Zalbar. Very similar. I don't even have mine modded for full tenacity. I just got lucky with some secondaries. So I have him about 113% tenacity. Honestly, he could be more. I don't need to have him with that CC or potency set on there. You want to, same principle. You want him to not get dazed, not get stunned, not get debuffed, because you want him to have the taunt and you want him to have retribution. When he counters, that's really important, especially if you have the mission Zeta also. Having both those Zetas is key. My mission, she could have offense mods, she could have crit damage mods. I went with speed and potency. I may end up remodding her, but similarly, tenacious. She's got a good chunk of tenacity. She still deals some decent damage, could be a lot better, but I am comfortable with the way that I have her. I have her at 97% tenacity. Could be higher. Same principle. You don't want her to get dazed, because if you had the double Zeta, she will assist Zalbar every time he goes. That means every time he counters. And that dynamic duo, because that's what they really are. I mean, that's why this unique is me and Big Z forever, right? They share all the benefits. They have the offense. They counter, they assist. It is just, if you fight a well-modded Karth Old Republic team, I mean, it's just devastating. If you don't shut one or both of them down, you're really in trouble. And then obviously going back to Zal, he's got that really nice Zeta also. He gains Taunt and Retribution. That's really key. You got to keep them from being dazed together, and they can really, really do some damage. I mean, I've seen people lose to Karth Old Republic teams with JTR, which is horrifying. Next toon, B2. If you've watched any of my roster review videos, you'll know that I like to have B2 at 100% potency, 100% tenacity, or as close thereto as possible. 100% tenacity because same thing. You don't want him dazed. You don't want him stunned. You want him to keep hitting that AoE debuff, and that's why you need the 100% potency to go with it. Keep him from being dazed, especially on a GG team or really any team you put him on. You want him to gain that bonus turn, to gain that turn meter, and debuff or dispel the whole rest of the enemy team as often as possible. So after those guys, you could make the argument certainly for Bosk, Kylo Ren. There are a number of other toons that you want a decent amount of tenacity with. I have a decent amount on both my Bosk and my Kylo Ren. We'll just take a quick look at my Bosk. I like my Bosk fast and tenacious. I want him taunting, especially if he's on a Django team. Just get right out in front, taunt right off the bat, and just be a pain from the get-go. I have him at about, let's take a look. Yeah, I got 302 speed and 107% tenacity. I could be better with tenacity. I'm good with the speed. Again, I throw him behind a Django lead all the time, so he's effectively 332 speed, getting that taunt up, and he's pretty tenacious. So he can be a pain also. Crew, if you're old school and you run crew on D and GA, you want a bit of tenacity. Mine doesn't have as much as I would like, but it's serviceable. Certainly if you pair it with a Zaris or a Nest to throw on a crew defensive team, it's still pretty viable. It kind of forces a meta. Don't throw vanilla crew unless you're in a really easy bracket, because that'll just get Ewoked straight away. So those are the toons that I think need tenacity. All right, last and most embarrassingly, I'm going to show you toons that need offense and or crit damage. My Chewie has speed and health mods. Unsurprising, he still does a decent amount of damage. Most people want to run him with a lot of offense. Honestly, that's preferable. You want him going often. Well, he will be going often if you throw him on a CLS lead team with Han, with Raid Han, because he assists. Hopefully you get the second guard on your CLS. If you don't, you need to remod to make that happen. You want him hitting hard because he hits a lot. So there's no reason to have him not hitting dangerously hard. Droideka, similar principle, no speed. He does, or it does, true damage, ignores defense, can't crit, which is why my thing, by the way, has no speed, because one of his attacks is based on the speed, that primary. So again, here, secondary, ignores defense, true damage. So you want offense. You want to stack as much double offense mods as you can. I had an unpopular choice, which I'll actually go back to in a second. I don't have a whole lot of depth in offense mods, as most of you are well aware. So I went with this crit avoidance health arrow. I want to try and keep him alive a little bit longer, because he can be a little bit squishy. Going on to CLS, I know, I have speed mods on it, big surprise, but you want your CLS hitting hard. He counters a lot, and I got mine at 4,600 physical damage. He counters a lot. I got a decent amount of double offense mods stacked on here, which makes up for the abundance of speed. You saw that I have him almost at 300 speed, which is honestly just asinine. I'm a little embarrassed about my Wampa, but here he is. He's got CD and CC sets. I'm trying to stack a little bit of tenacity. Not super successful on that, honestly. Luckily enough for Wampa, he hits hard enough on his own. Certainly, if he gets a chance to ramp up, ooh, I may have to 6E that. Yeah, that might be a 6E mod. So I have a few double offense mods on here. He really benefits from them. He really benefits. God, that's a stupidly fast mod. He really benefits from the crit damage set also. So definitely trying to put a crit damage set on him. Likewise with Anakin. Um, with his rework, he gets bonus turns. Mine doesn't have a whole lot of damage, but you want that CD set on him. I threw CD and health mods on him to keep him a little bit healthier. Marauder. Some people run Marauder with CC, crit chance. Don't do that. Especially if you're running him under a Darth Revan team, he does not need crit chance. Throw crit damage mods on him. Throw some health mods on him. If you're doing a mirror, he won't get killed by HK. He will crit for minimum 160,000 damage if he's under a Darth Revan team. And my great shame, my Raidhan does not do a whole lot of damage. He's faster than he needs to be, and he's weaker than he should be. All the same, I have crit damage and crit chance mods on him. He crits a lot. That's kind of fast for an OG Han mod, but what are you going to do? Where I could, I got some double offense mods. Again, as you know, if you've watched my roster review of myself, I don't have great depth in crit damage mods. I need to work on them. Similarly with Spirit, this is just another toon that I really like to have with crit damage because she can one-shot dudes if she's left unchecked. So I have CD and CC on her also with a decent amount of speed, so she's not the dead last toon to go. So those are my embarrassing offense and crit damage mod sets. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe and share, and don't forget to wail harder.